You chuckled there. Come on. Like,
Yeah. Well, I wanted to put it in the right words.
Okay, all right. Live from LA County Podcast. Welcome back to another wonderful episode where we take the opportunity to talk to our best and brightest leaders here in the county and get to know them just a little bit more and get to know about their journeys, about their style of leadership, about the work that they're doing, as well as how some of you can benefit from the work that they're doing, or how some of you can feed into the work that our leaders are doing. Today, we have a special guest. We are honored to welcome James Zenner. He is our department head over and our director of our Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. And today, I want to thank you, Jim, for joining us.
It's good to be here, Rodney.
Awesome, man. Before we get into it, because we're going to, ask you some questions and the folks kind of know our format, I'm going to just share a little bit of information about Jim and about the organization that he so proudly and so compassionately runs. So let me tell you a little bit about Jim, folks. Jim is the director of the Los Angeles County Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. He's a U.S. Army veteran who served in Iraq. Jim has dedicated his civilian career to supporting veterans through mental health, housing, peer-led support groups and support systems, from the VA to local nonprofits, and now through one of the largest veteran service operations departments in the county of Los Angeles. He has one of the largest, is serving one of the largest veteran populations in this nation. And we're going to talk to Jim today about what it means to lead with lived experience. We're going to talk to him about the future of veteran support in Los Angeles, as well as how Jim is working to turn bureaucracy into connection. And plus, we have our rapid fire. We have our rapid fire portion of the show. And then lastly, please don't leave. We would like you to stick around and hear a little bit more about what's inspiring him, what's grounding him, and how is he making this work incredibly real and supportive for our veterans. So without further ado, enough of that, let's get into it. Welcome, Jim. How are you, my man?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. So, with all of our department heads that sit in this seat, the first question we ask them is, what is your LA story?
Yeah, so my LA story is probably a little unique. I met my wife, Annie, when we were both in the military, and she moved up to Fort Lewis in Washington, where I was from. And she said, I'll move up here as long as you promise to move me back to LA so I could finish up my degree at UCLA. She's a very proud Bruin. So, of course, I applied to USC and started graduate school down there right after we got off of active duty in 2008. And I started off as a student. I turned into a client at the VA, and then been serving veterans since 2010, and LA's been our home ever since 2008. So Annie actually moved down here from the Bay Area when she graduated high school, so she's been a SoCal girl ever since about
Nice.
2004, 2003-ish.
Nice. And, with some of our department heads, we ask them this question about, Bruins or Trojans, but you got both.
Yeah, house divided.
House divided. The house divided. So thank you for that. Let's get into a little bit about your background as a veteran, right? What led you to do this work? So talk to us about your motivation and how, first of all, your motivation to enlist. What was it for you that you had that yearning to serve?
Yeah, so it was 2003, and I remember watching the news about the war going on in Iraq breaking out, and my dad served, my grandfather served, like a lot of American folks. It's a family business. Military is a family business. So I was 27 years old, had 2 kids, no degree, was managing restaurants, and really wanted a better life for my kids. but I also selfishly wanted to go and serve in a war zone and do my part as an American, because I couldn't imagine going through my life and knowing that I sat on the sidelines while our country was at war. So I really went in with, I'm going to go in and get my 4-year degree during my 4-year enlistment, and I'm going to go to war, do my part, come home, and I'll figure it out then.
Yeah, yeah. What about the transition, right? So you've served and your transition into civilian life. How was that transition for you?
Yeah, well, it started off, it's kind of weird. You start noticing things like, I think the biggest thing that I remember is not feeling anything in front of the Christmas tree while my kids were opening presents. And I was like, my dad served in Vietnam, and I was like, Dad, is this normal? He's like, yeah, that kind of stuff takes some time. And so, I was kind of on a normal trajectory, and those are kind of just normal kind of experiences, getting out of the military and all that kind of stuff. And then my dad passed away unexpectedly about 6 months later. And he was really kind of my guide that helped me kind of, make sense of what I was going through, normalize what I was going through. Because some of the experiences that I experienced in Iraq, my buddies weren't there. It was isolated. So I really felt like I didn't want to talk to them and show my weakness to them. So he passed away, and then I just started struggling emotionally. I went from interning at the intensive outpatient program at Madigan Army Hospital to being a client at that setting, and so starting getting my own mental health help. And it was interesting because it was hard to see myself as a veteran and see myself as struggling, because that was for the men and women that served in Vietnam and World War II, and so there was some of that adjustment as well. But it really made me stronger going through that. It's really led me to a place to where I don't see things through the lens of a director first. I see it through the lens of a consumer of receiving support. So,
Services.
exactly.
That's awesome, man. So I'm inspired. Like, so you took challenges and made them into opportunities to serve and to help others, and you lead with that. And so, talk to me about when I just mentioned the word lead. Talk to me about your leadership style for this department that you run. How do you lead?
Yeah, well,
You chuckled there. Come on, like
yeah. Well, I wanted to put it in the right words.
Okay, all right.
So, I like in the military, like you really, you bark up, you don't bark down. So when I'm in a room full of, other city, federal providers and stuff, I'm really vocal and assertive and make sure that, the needs get met. I really enjoy my work that I do through the state and federal associations of county VSOs, because we're really developing what right should look like, what right would look like across the country. Local government really overlooks, and the federal government overlooks the potential that local government has to solving issues within the veteran community. So just to give you a quick example, most CVSOs are viewed as just people that file claims, which is very important. But when addressing things like healthcare clinical priorities in the VA, like suicide prevention and homelessness, they have to partner with local government, and local government has to step up, or else those priorities aren't going to be met. And we're really kind of using my platform to through the state and federal association to really kind of get the rest of the counties on board with really advocating and sending that same message to our federal partners and to our states. So that's kind of outside, external to the department, how I lead, and internally, really like to lead by example. I got a lot of great experiences that I learned from in the military of what right looks like in leadership, and selflessness. Being the last one to eat when you're at a company party, making sure that your folks are taken care of. That's something that when you say military, a lot of people don't think about that part of our military service. But as an E5 in the Army, I had 6 soldiers that reported to me, and I was responsible for everything for them, because when you're in the military, you're property of U.S. government.
Yes.
And so it was my job as their boss to make sure that their whole life was good. So if they had family problems, I was the family counselor. If it was so I took that same kind of leadership approach to my role here in the department, and making sure that all the staff are taken care of. we brought on through the Quality Productivity Commission, we brought on the state-of-the-art mental health program through the support of DMH. And that, we always think of like, oh, these services are for who we're serving. But because we have so many peers that have their own needs, just like myself, I made sure that they knew at the meeting that is there for them as well. Nice. And so, we're really making sure as we build out the programs here in LA County and our department, in my department, is that, our staff has the support that they need.
Wow. That's, and I got to say, folks, what you're hearing here is the creativity of a department head to bring things that he's seeing, resources that he's seeing as important for his department to serve to his employees so that they can serve better. And you all have listened to a lot of our department heads, and I'll be honest, I don't know if everyone's quite said that or done that. We're all, maybe we give time, but you've actually brought resources, and that is an amazing thing. Now you have me thinking, man, how can we replicate that? How can we replicate that in some of our other departments? So you at least have my mind thinking, and I'm sure for some of our employees and leaders who might be listening, you've certainly left me with something to think about that we could do better for our employees. And so I'm going to look into that. Can you talk to me about, before you became a leader here in this county, what was your path in the county to get there?
Yeah, so the county was looking to start the program called Veteran Peer Access Network through Department of Mental Health. And at the time I was running the largest peer program in the VA system over at West LA VA. And so I actually had a recruiter reach out to me and see if I was interested in joining Department of Mental Health. And so when I heard what the county was trying to do and how innovative it was an easy decision to jump on board and start my career over at the Department of Mental Health. I ran a couple other programs that were open to the general population. The mental health court linkage program was one where we have therapists who partner with the public defender, DA, and the courts to really get people into mental health treatment versus the typical criminal path, incarceration, or different things that aren't helpful to helping people rehabilitate. And I had a lot of fun running that program. Yeah. Now doing some similar work now that I'm with the Department of Military and Veteran Affairs. And then also a peer program through Whole Person Care, where we were connecting with folks with severe mental illness while they were in the hospital and making sure they had linkage to housing and long-term mental health support to really reduce the suffering, number one, but also reduce the amount of hospitalizations and emergency response. So started doing that, and then VPN, there was a follow-up board motion to get VPN off the ground, and so started VPN, had a lot of fun doing that. You can't find a VPN anywhere else in the country. Some states have a comprehensive peer program, but no county has stepped up to fund 45 peers to really find veterans and their family members out there that are languishing. Wow. And getting them connected to services. And it's just a huge workforce development piece too, because a lot of veterans, when we were talking about transition a little bit earlier, yeah. Rodney, when you're transitioning, you don't really necessarily know what you want to do. Sometimes you're a military policeman in the military, you get out and think, oh, I have to do law enforcement because that's what that's what my skill set is. And then they get really miserable because that's not what they want to do. It's different in the military than it is out in the civilian. So that's something that can have a negative effect on transition. But also, I think most of us just get out and don't know what we want to do. And so what programs like the Veteran Peer Access Network do is it gives veterans an opportunity to get into social service and really start networking and learning what they want to do. And a lot of our VPN peers, they start off as a peer and they go back to school to get into nursing or social work or whatever, but they needed that launching pad to be able to have some time and have some civilian interactions to kind of figure out where they want to go. So yeah, it's just an honor to run that program, and it's been a huge privilege in my career thus far.
Yeah. And that's one of the things in this county. When you take on the challenge, like a challenge like that, to do the first, be the first, build something up, and you actually make it happen, you see where you can end up sitting, right? And people recognize that here in the county, all of the good work when our employees are able to actually deliver on some amazing, new, innovative work. I am aware of, and I know that the Department of Human Resources for LA County, as well as the Sheriff's Department, we're working with the fire department, and we're working with your department on a program called SkillBridge. And so we may have some veterans, some active duty military folks who are in service now, and they're thinking, I want to work for this guy. Talk to us. What is the SkillBridge program?
Yeah, so the SkillBridge program is a program through the Department of Defense, which is now the Department of War, that allows service members as they're getting out to intern with a corporation, a public entity, prior to getting out. So that department will pay their salary for, I think now it's up to 4 months, it used to be 6, to intern. And then the idea is to really kind of, for wherever they're going to intern, to get them employed. Because that's really kind of, the federal government recognizes that, a lot of folks getting out of the military don't necessarily know what they want to do. And, when you serve in the military, you're not building your civilian network like you are when you're not serving. So there's like a network that needs to be built, and you don't know what you don't know. So they built that program, and so yeah, really excited to work on that program. I think I really enjoy my last 7+ years in the county. I want other veterans to experience what I've been able to experience being a service. Everybody that serves in the military has an experience of, it's not about the bottom line, it's about serving. And so those that, on the way out, they don't know what they want to do, but they know they want to serve, continue to serve. We could build this program out to where they have, they can have experiences in all 39 departments. Have informational interviews with leaders in the county to really kind of help expedite them figuring out where they see themselves being happy. Because I think for a lot of us veterans, it's really, the best way to take care of your mental health is to find a job that, pays the bills, but also fulfills you. Like it really gives you that sense of mission and purpose. Because I've ran into veterans, making $90,000 a year in the IT business, and they want to come work for me at a nonprofit for $35,000 a year, just so they could find their sense of purpose and mission, because they were just absolutely miserable and their mental health was impacted as a result. So yeah, the SkillBridge program is a really exciting program, and I know we can knock it out of the park in LA County.
We have over 2,200 classifications. So this really is a county where if one thing isn't quite the right thing for you, we have so many different experiences with our size and the breadth of scope of this county that we can really build some awesome experiences for veterans who are interested in seeing how the biggest government works in this nation. So looking forward to building that out for you, and any folks that are interested, you have the resource here. You can call our department, and we'll certainly help you think through that and share with you what it's going to look like working here in the county. You also work with nonprofits, right? You work with a lot of nonprofits that help do this work. Can you talk to us about that, bridging that from working solo with your department, your staff, but how nonprofits and CBOs, community-based organizations, feed into the work that you do?
Yeah. So I look at it like, how do I support the network of CBOs? Like, because I'm coming from the government perspective, so really, the biggest provider of veteran services is the Veterans Administration, as everybody knows. And so we have them. We have the State Department of Veteran Affairs at California, known as CalVet. We have that layer of service. And then we have nonprofits as well. So I really kind of see, we really do a lot of convening of nonprofits through what's called the Los Angeles Veteran Collaborative, which we are strong partners in. And I really enjoy that work because I get to hear all the barriers that exist out there in the community, and with all the services that we have in the county, I really kind of work to close those gaps and make sure that the community knows about the services, because family members of veterans, we don't really have much for us at the VA, so the community is really relied upon. And where the nonprofits come in, and why we contracted a big portion of VPN out to the communities, is the flexibility of nonprofits. That's, we're limited by bureaucracy at times. And so, we have that flexibility out in the community. And really, just thinking back on my nonprofit days, you get really, really passionate people that work for a nonprofit, and you know that they're there for the right reasons. A lot of the time because you're not getting paid a lot.
Yeah.
So really making sure that funding opportunities are getting out to our CBOs, convening CBOs, sharing best practices, making myself accessible. So I go in these meetings out in the community with veteran serving providers and just let them know, like, hey, if you need anything from LA County, I'm here, let me know. For instance, they're building the big campus over at West LA, a bunch of veteran housing, and the VA does not know about a lot about domestic violence, and so they're going to have families living on campus, and so to get out in front of that, they asked me to connect them to Department of Public Health, the domestic violence executive director, and so I made that. That's just an example of some of the connections, but I'm really seeing myself out there to be available and accessible to the community and make the right connections to support the good work that's going on out there.
Right, right. What about some of the reforms? What are some of the changes and reforms that you're trying to implement across this particular area?
Yeah, so Los Angeles County specifically?
Los Angeles County specifically.
Yeah.
But hold on, because being the largest, I got to imagine for folks who are looking at this and maybe in some other state, some other county, if there are things that you can impact that are nationwide, I'd love to hear about those as well.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think here locally, what we've really been focused on is really access, like making sure that access is there, and we're finding as many veterans and family members that are in need as possible. So that's really kind of what we're focused on here. I think the biggest initiative that is really exciting right now is the justice involved veteran side. To date, we have collaborative courts, but they're not vet courts. So really trying to get vet courts established here in Los Angeles County, because it's really important. Collaborative courts are great, but for veterans, if you establish a good vet court like they have in OC or San Diego, you're using the military cultural competency in that courtroom by having it just be veterans to really hold veterans accountable, in a culturally appropriate way that we respond to. Whereas collaborative courts, it's kind of mixed populations, and so you don't get that real effective use of military culture in the courtroom to really kind of motivate veterans to make the change and not end up in jail. And so that's one thing I'm really excited about working on. We have the right connections. It's just going to be a lot of work, slow, steady work, but that's where we're aiming to go here locally. And I'd say statewide and actually nationally, really trying to professionalize our profession as county veteran service officers. We've been put into a box of being just the claims folks, and we all recognize that we can really have a much bigger impact in our local communities by really kind of rebranding ourselves and holding ourselves accountable to really kind of do the work and follow up, because in some places we have a bad reputation, and so we're looking for ways to how do we hold ourselves accountable, rebrand ourselves, and really get more in the, for lack of a better term, more in the fight when it comes to taking care of the whole veteran. And really, there's a lot of cost savings too. Like if we're getting the veterans that are coming into our county systems,
Yes.
getting them identified, and we can get in front of them, we can get them over to the VA, we can get them benefits, and really make that resource that we're saving available for the rest of our counties. And so that's really kind of what we're working on, outside of LA County collectively across the country.
Now, one of the big initiatives in this county, so much so that this county is looking to build and will have established by January 1st, 2026, a brand new department on homelessness and housing, right? And I do wonder, because as I understand it, veterans do make up a significant part of the population of homeless folks in our community. How is your department feeding into the establishment of this new department, or how will you work with them, continue to work with them on helping our homeless vets?
Yeah. So we partnered with the VA and the community on something called the VA One Team. So it's basically a group of community providers, VA staff and program, a few county departments are in there, Calvet's in there. And so we've been doing that work. And so I've been really talking to Sarah a lot about like how do we integrate the new department into what's been established, because it's been effective. We've increased placements into permanent housing by 42% since we started one team. The number of homeless veterans experiencing homelessness has gone down quite a bit. It was 22.9% last year. So we've been talking about how do we work together? Where does a decision maker in her department need to be in as far as those meetings? Like how do we, since we get allocated close to $2 million in Measure A funding, how do we make sure that there's accountability on our end to her department in integrating and making sure that we're not duplicating services? And I think right now, very aware of the financial landscape that Sarah's walking into. We're working on getting all the veterans that are in our county system of care enrolled into the VA to free up that space for additional constituents. So that's some of the stuff that we've been working on together, and just really looking forward to helping make sure that she's successful in her role.
Yeah, our new department head, Sarah Mahan, right? She has recently been appointed to the new department that is established here in the county of Los Angeles to help improve the situation for our homeless population here. And so that new department will be stood up January 1st. And so we're looking forward to the amazing work that her and her team are going to do, and the partners, right? Mental health has sat in this chair, and they play a significant role in the work. You're going to play a role in the work, and others across our county. So, Jim, that wasn't so. Those were kind of our questions regarding the work that you do, your leadership style, and we'll have a few more of those a little bit later. But we always take a little break here and we play a little game with our department head, so we can kind of get to know you a little bit better, right? And so I'm going to ask you some questions, and you just tell me kind of what comes to mind. All right.
Okay.
So, who were your key mentors or influences in your career?
Yeah, so John Sharon, who used to run Department of Mental Health, we first met each other when I was actually in a transitional living program. I spoke on behalf of the nonprofit that housed me and my son, and so we met there, and he really kind of helped me think through, should I go into nonprofit, should I go into public sector, and really ever since then, we've worked on some really great stuff together, and appreciated his guidance and wisdom. And then, when I took over as Director of Military Veteran Affairs, I had a handful of Vietnam vets come out of the woodwork to really kind of support me. So I was really not experienced on the legislative side. There's a Vietnam vet, Richard Valdez, who has just really came in and mentored me and helped me out a lot. Jay Morales, another Vietnam vet, he basically grew up in Bob Hope Patriotic Hall, and he's really kind of helped school me on how to navigate the county and the history of veterans here in the county. Shad Meshad started the vet centers post Vietnam War, and so I like touching base with him about how to work within a bureaucracy and the mental health needs of veterans, and what he's learned over his 50 plus years. So yeah, I mean, it really, I've said this to a few people, on paper we have 65 employees. Well, actually, I think 77 employees, but it feels like I have about 300, 400, because there's folks in this community that really care about veterans, care about the department, care about Bob Hope Patriotic Hall. And so I feel extremely well supported. And, quite honestly, 95% of the things that go right in the department was somebody else's idea, to be honest. It was, Vietnam vets wanting to see it happen in the county for a long time, or, being up in Sacramento, talking to other counties, hearing kind of what they're doing, like, oh yeah, we definitely need that in the county. I'm going to steal your idea. But it's just, a lot of fun, a lot of collaboration, and just, I feel a lot of support.
Yeah. Normally I ask this question at the end, but I'm going in because you said something that spurred me asking about, we're going to have people that are looking at this and thinking, how can I help? How can I help this department? How can I help Jim? Are there volunteer opportunities either with you or that of in the community that folks can feed into to help our veterans similar to what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, on our website, you can sign up to volunteer. Nice. We have field offices across the county. So if you live in Antelope Valley, we have a couple of offices up there, plus they open the beautiful Seabach up there. So there's space in there as well. So, you can volunteer. We actually created a foundation, a reportable foundation, Warrior Heritage Foundation. So if you want to donate money to help support the department, you can go to warriorheritagefoundation.org and make a donation there. And then also, if you're interested in volunteering at a VA, on a VA campus, that helps us in our mission through our partners at the VA. You can go to their Center for CDC, Center for Development, and you can find the information on the VA. I'm not gonna.
No, our team will figure out get the information, and we'll make it available on the page.
Okay,
yeah.
Awesome.
So you all just heard some opportunities to help, to feed into this big mission of helping the folks who have served us, helping them even more. And regardless of your status as a veteran or not, you can actually help. You can help. So a few more questions. What advice would you offer to a veteran who aspires to be in leadership in public service like you are?
Yeah, I would say yes to everything. Volunteer for everything. In the military, you get advice from folks that have been in for a while, like don't volunteer for anything. And so, you gotta, for the veterans that are, the service members that get out and become veterans here in LA County that want to aspire to be in public sector, really, if you want to lead in public sector, say yes to everything. Volunteer. Not only are you going to learn, you're going to show your bosses that you're motivated, you're there for the right reasons, you want to advance, and you're willing to put your money where your mouth is when it comes to doing stuff to earn that advancement. So I think that's the first thing that comes to mind with that question, Rodney.
Yeah. If you could have dinner with any historical figure, past or present, who would that be and why?
Yeah, it would have to be Teddy Roosevelt. Was a recipient of 2 Medal of Honors. Usually people, when you receive the Medal of Honor, it's after you're dead, so your family usually gets it. But not only did he have a really successful military career, went on to run the best country on the planet. And so I'd love to just spend a couple hours talking to him over a nice prime rib or something.
Nice. What's a song in rotation for you, or one that hypes you up, gets you motivated?
Yeah, I would say anything AC/DC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I grew up in that era, so
yeah.
Bus rides for high school sports. We'd listen to that, and we did a little bit of that in Iraq.
You hyped.
Too. Yeah, we put it on the intercom as we're rolling out on a mission. So yeah, AC/DC.
Has there been a totally unexpected conversation with a vet that really has kind of changed your day? I'm sure you have lots of them.
Nonstop, Rodney.
Exactly.
Nonstop.
So give me one that's really impactful, that speaks to the power of a message, right? Impacting how you feel, impact your day. Share one of them with us.
Yeah. So conversation. It's hard. I mean, I really, I've got to pick out one. I've had so many conversations over the years, and what the veterans that I've helped didn't understand, didn't recognize, is they were helping me more than I was helping them. And so, yeah, I mean, I think one. Yes, I was working with one veteran who really, I think he was telling himself that he didn't deserve more in life, and he couldn't achieve more in life. But I could tell that he really liked taking care of people, and so I was sitting there on the next to a whiteboard, and I just wrote his name up on the board, and I put MSW behind his name, and just really, seeing how he reacted to that, how he made a connection to where that is possible, and what I like doing, I can pursue a career in it. That was a light bulb moment. And then I remember this other gentleman who I was running a residential program, and we made a mistake. And so that mistake caused him to have a consequence of not being able to go out that weekend. And he was just livid. And this gentleman, he was discharged from the military early because he fought with his leadership and all that stuff. And if you knew his background, grew up in the foster homes and just really struggled with that. And in that moment, when I realized that we had made the mistake, I was like, I knew exactly what he needed to hear in the moment. And that was me taking responsibility and apologizing. And, you know, that his reaction, it was just, he started tearing up and he was like, no, but no adult's ever taken responsibility for making mistakes and you know, treating me unfairly. And that was just so powerful, like just being there in the moment with them. And yeah.
Got it. All right. Well, those are just a few of our questions. Now I'm going to ask you a few more. We have this thing that we call the lightning round, and literally, first thing that comes to mind, one word answer, you know, or you know, a couple words are fine. But I'm going to ask you a few things. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Text or call?
Text.
Dog or cat?
Dog.
I like it. Me too. Beaches or mountains?
Mountains.
Are you an early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
This is going to be easy. Classic rock or hip hop? Or hard rock?
That's
Oh,
I gotta say I grew into hip hop. Like it was hard rock, you know, and grunge when I was in
Okay.
high school, but it is now hip hop.
okay. Give me an artist.
RBL Posse.
Oh, my man. Okay. Favorite activity that you like doing in LA?
I like doing in LA. I like hiking outside of LA because there's a lot of people in LA on the hiking trails. I grew up on a mountain, so but I still like hiking here. I'd say kind of getting out into the more less urban areas of LA and just enjoying the surroundings. That's probably my favorite thing.
All right. What motivates you?
That's easy. I've been very grounded in why I do what I do. And so when I was growing up, my dad struggled a lot. He struggled a lot with his experiences in the military. And, you know, I joined the military because, you know, he had served and I wanted to do my part. And, you know, when I got out, or actually before I even joined the military, I saw him go get help. And because he went and got help, he kept our family together. And so I always kind of in the back of my mind, like, you know, I really like those helping professional people. They keep families together. And then I joined the military and I was like, maybe I'll get into law enforcement or maybe I'll go into the helping profession. And, you know, I just learned quickly that, you know, that law enforcement wasn't my thing. And so, you know, that's why I chose the path and why I'm so motivated and so thankful that I had this opportunity to make this much change is the Vietnam veterans. They had it really bad when they came back, and they made a pledge to never again will another generation of warfighters endure what we endured coming back. And so, you know, because of what my dad went through and his buddies during that time, I'm dedicated to carrying that mission forward and making it better, even better for the next generation of men and women that serve our country. So there's other reasons that reinforce that, but that's really at the heart of why I do what I do. You know, I think additionally just experiencing what it was like growing up in a household with a parent who served in the military and, you know, being, you know, having that impact me, I am really motivated because when I started off early as a social worker, I was like, why am I so willing to work so much harder? Not that I didn't work hard with everybody, but with parents, like veterans that come to the program that are parents. And I realized, you know, I do that because I kind of, you know, helping because I knew what the impact that it had on my dad when he, you know, had, you know, certain behaviors and took his anger out on the family. And so that's another piece that, you know, and as you start doing that work, you get grounded in like, oh yeah, that's why I'm putting in extra effort here. This is why, you know, my heart gets really pulled when I'm working with, you know, this subpopulation or whatever. So,
Jim, man, okay. I see it. I see it. Right man for the job here. Right man for the job here. Well, that was our lightning round. That was kind of cool. I learned, you know, hip hopper right here. I love it. I love it. So look, we have a few closing questions for you that I'm going to ask about and specifically this is going to be about public service. And we try to make the connection to, of course, the work that you're doing in the county. What has working for the county of Los Angeles meant for you?
Oh, it's meant everything. Having a platform to make this change, having support from the leadership of this county to really make a change and drive a change across the country, not just here in the county, has been just a huge privilege. I've gotten to benefit from peer support and being a peer support provider, and now building out a program specifically around that. It's just been an absolute honor and privilege. Helping develop other leaders and watching them move up has been, because of my platform here in the county, has been outstanding as well. I couldn't imagine a more favorite job. My favorite job used to be my first one, running a residential program for vets, I got to say this job as a department head running the biggest county veteran service office is now my favorite. Awesome.
So my last question for you is, lately we've been allowing our department heads to look in that camera and and I'm going to have you talk to two groups of folks. First, I'd like you to talk to your employees and talk to them about and thank them for the work that they do in the way that you would. And then, of course, I'd love for you to just take a moment as we wrap this up and talk to our veterans out there who might be listening and leave them with kind of your message as we wrap up today.
Great. Yeah, so I just actually we had a staff meeting today, so I'll reiterate kind of what I said there for anybody that wasn't in the staff meeting, but you guys are what makes everything possible. If we succeed, it's because of you all. Failure is on the leader, and so because of the success, we have the confidence of the county to continue to grow the work that we're doing and solve the problems that we see out there for our veteran community. So, and as I said earlier, you guys bring all these ideas and I steal them and I get all the credit for it. The credit belongs with you all, and I really appreciate that opportunity to say that.
Yeah.
For the veterans that are out there, I know there's a lot of veterans that are really knocking it out of the park in the county, business owners, executives, all that kind of stuff, and you don't feel like there's a place for you here in the county. And I want to say we need your help. We need you employing veterans. We need you as a partner with the department, with our foundation, to really help be a game changer for our veterans that aren't doing as well out there. And really, we want to honor you all as well, and we want you to do, for the business owners out there, we want you to do business with the county. Please reach out, and I will get you connected to my colleague over at ISD. We'll get you vendorized. We want you to thrive. And for the veterans out there that not sure what you want to do, reach out. We got a lot of options. We've got a great network here in LA County. We can help you figure it out. And who knows, maybe you'll come work for us. We'd love that too. So. But thank you, Rodney. Appreciate
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, folks, Jim Zenner, our wonderful director of our Military and Veterans Department. And so, folks, I just want to thank you for visiting with us for another episode of Live from LA County Podcast. And we will see you next time. Take care.